Okay, so now we'll continue with the professional ethics. So we'll have a quick recap of what we had studied. So we started with the fundamental principles, okay, affecting your integrity, objectivity, professional due care, professional behavior, and confidentiality. And then we started to talk about the conceptual framework threats. Primarily, there were 5 types of threats, and these threats we discussed with the example of practicing CA and CA in service. Okay, then we'll continue further. How do you evaluate the threat? So you have identified the threat. Now what to do after identifying? You have to evaluate them. Now the condition, policies, procedures described above might impact the evaluation whether the threat to compliance with the fundamental is an acceptable level. Acceptable level means what? An acceptable level is a level in which professional accounting using reasonable and informed third party test would like to conclude that accountant complies with the fundamental principles. So what is this informed third party test? It is behaving as if I am a third party, or somebody has asked me, I am an independent observer of a third party, what that person would have done. That's called a reasonable and informed third party test. How a third party would have behaved. And I'll say, if okay, is it that same way I would have also behaved? That is called the acceptable level of the threat. So reasonable and informed third party means is consideration by the accountant whether the same conclusion would have been likely reached by other party also, the third independent party. It is made from the perspective of a reasonable and informed third party who weighs all the relevant facts, and third party need not be an accountant but would possess the relevant knowledge. So this is called the evaluation. So how do you evaluate any threat whenever you identify? Just you put yourself into the shoes of that third party, would have got all the information and how that person would have behaved. That's how you evaluate it. Okay, will he continue? Will he not continue? Will he address this threat in particular way? That's called putting yourself into the shoes of a third party. Yes, so this is all about your evaluation. You have identified. And how do you address the threats? So, professional accountant determines that the identified threat compliance with the fundamental principles at not an acceptable level, he shall address either by eliminating them or reducing them to an acceptable low level. How? Either you eliminate the circumstance, like suppose if self-interest threat is there, you sell the shares. If self-review threat is there, you appoint someone else. Okay, if you have got intimidation threat, you tell them it's not going to happen. So first you try to eliminate the threat. If you cannot do, then apply the safeguards where you can reduce those threat to an acceptable low level. If that also you cannot do, then you should decline or end the professional activity. Okay, so this is how you can address the threat. First you try to eliminate, prevent. Prevention is better than cure. If you cannot prevent it, then try to cure it. Apply the safeguards, take medicines. If that is also not possible, then just leave it. Okay, decline it. Now, what are the actions to eliminate? However, depending upon the facts and circumstances, that may be addressed by eliminating the circumstances. There are some situations where threat only can be addressed by declining and ending the relationship. This is because the circumstances cannot be eliminated and safeguards are not capable of being addressed to bring it to an acceptable low level. Okay, so now what are those safeguards? First of all, we understood how to eliminate, address the threat by elimination, safeguard, declining. Okay, now coming back to the safeguards. Safeguards are the actions which is individually or in combination with other actions that can reduce this threat. Now, what are the examples of actions? See, please mark this important. They can ask you. 1. Assigning of the additional time and qualified person. Why? For self-interest threat. When engagement aspects addresses self-interest. That means you give, suppose if you have got a self-interest there, then appoint another qualified person. You don't get involved in it. Having appropriate reviewer if there is a self-review threat. This is also one of the safeguard. Get yourself review so that independent examination is going to happen. So if you have got a self-review or advocacy or familiarity threat, then use a different partner. Using a different partner will remove that familiarity threat, or different engagement teams for the non-assurance and assurance services, so that you remove it. So that review also you have addressed, because their work you are going to check. instead of, see, since you have got two different people, two different team for assurance and non-insurance, yes, your self-review is also gone, advocacy is also gone, familiarity is also gone. Involve another audit firm to perform the part of the engagement, so that self-interest or review threats also gone. And separating the teams dealing with the matters of confidential nature. That means if there is any confidential information through which somebody can gain the benefit, have proper teams into picture. So these are all the safeguards. You can examples of the safeguards which can be applied. There are no examination questions, but somewhere they can ask. Okay, students, I hope you are much clear now. So we were talking about the volume 1, where we spoke about the fundamental principles, and then we spoke about the conceptual framework. So conceptual framework first talks about the different type of threats, then it will talk about the evaluation of the threat as if you are a third party, and then it will talk about the addressing of the threat. Addressing of the threat can happen through elimination, safeguard, or declining. Safeguards can be different safeguards for different type of threats. Yes, after this they have not discussed any of the principle in your study material. Straight away they have gone to responding to no-clap. Yes, please understand what is this no-clap, non-compliance with the laws and regulations. See, in case of providing professional service to a client who CA in practice, or conducting professional activity who is CA in service, primarily the CFO, the directors, or the freelancers. So professional accountant may come across non-compliance with the laws and regulations, or suspected non-compliance with the laws and regulations by the client or by the employer. Obviously. So when you are appointed and you are there at the client's location, you may come to know that certain non-compliances have happened. Do you have any responsibility? See, if you are talking from SA 250 perspective, yes, you have got a responsibility to assess that and look into its impact if any non-compliance has happened. Please understand, your responsibility comes only if the non-compliance has happened. But in this case, in professional ethics, you have to do something if you suspect the non-compliance also. So this is becoming applicable for a practicing CA also, a non-practicing CA also. So here the primary objective, they want the chartered accountants to go and inform the appropriate authorities before some non-compliance happens. See, this is the difference between your SA 250 and your no-clap. So the non-compliance consists of acts of omission, that means somebody didn't do, or commission, intentional or unintentional, contrary to the prevailing law. Who could have committed? A client could have committed, or a professional accountant's employing organization could have done, TCWG of the client could have done, management could have done, or any other individuals working under the direction of the client. However, they do not address the personal misconduct or unrelated business activities to the client. That means if the CFO has done some tax fraud in personal case, like when he is claiming fake ATG deductions to CFO, and you as a professional accountant came to know, no, this is not applicable for you. Okay, but if the company is claiming fake deductions, if they are violating any of the laws, then it becomes applicable to you. So the non-compliance should have committed by the client, TCWG, management, or other individuals in the client organization. Their personal misconduct is not part of your non-claim. I hope, students, it's fine. You understood? Yes. So as per International Ethical Standard Board, following are the examples of no-clap. Okay, so they can ask you a question on this, like fraud, corruption, bribery. You know that your management is giving bribe to someone, or they are doing money laundering, terrorist financing, securities market, insider trading, banking and other financial products. Okay, so they are creating some like fake bank guarantees, they are giving LCs, they are creating data protection, like data privacy is violated, environmental protection, they are leaving the toxic water to the nearby sea, public health and safety, tax and pension liability payments they are avoiding, So these are all the examples of no class. They are all non-compliance with the law and regulations. If any professional accountant comes to know, he has to take certain set of actions. This is what your no class responsibility says as per code of ethics. Now, objective is to not turning the blind eye to potential no class is not appropriate. That means as if it is not applicable to you. Your job is this, I will not look at it. No, they don't want, they want to get that trust that society should trust the chartered accountant. They want to say that, look, chartered accountants are thinking in the public interest. So they don't want to have a turn a blind eye into no class. So some of the important facts are, during the course of providing a service, no class will be applicable if a professional accountant encounters or made aware of a non-compliance or suspected non-compliance. He is not required to investigate, not to ensure the compliance also. Okay, so if I get a doubt that there is a non, I can apply my reasonable knowledge, my common sense I can apply, because I am also a professional. So if I find that somebody is doing a non-compliance, I need not go and investigate myself, like what is happening, how they have done it. I need not check the compliance also, but I have to take certain set of actions. Expertise in law is not required. To not expected to have a knowledge of law greater than which is required, because the matters will be ultimately decided by the court. Now, certain matters expressly out of the purview, like we have already seen that personal misconduct is not covered, and a disclosure which is contrary to the law is not required. Okay, so if ethical standard board disclosure matters, appropriate authority would be regulated if doing so would be contrary to the law. For example, if an accountant is working in Swiss bank and he comes to know about some deposit happening in the bank, and that is coming as a bribe. Now you know your client has deposited some money. Now, is money laundering related activities, should you report under no class? Yes, because already we have seen, see, money laundering, it has come. That means if tomorrow you are working in a bank, you are a CA, you are an employee, you are working in a bank, but again, this is applicable for senior employees, CFO level. If you come to know that some client has deposited some money, they are doing some money laundering, they are doing some terrorist funding. Now, it is your responsibility to take certain set of actions. What we will see that further. But if you are working in the Swiss bank and then you come to know about this, first of all, Swiss laws strictly tell you to comply with the confidentiality. Yes, in that case, I have to comply with the confidentiality. So I have to disclose only when it is not contrary to the law. Law should not have stopped me from telling. Now, whom it is applicable? Responding to no class is applicable to all the professional accountants in service or senior professional. That means tomorrow you join, generally you join as a management trainee in any company, in a listed company, so it is not applicable to you. But CFO of a listed company, yes, it becomes applicable. Now, senior professional accountants in service are the directors, senior employees, because they are in a position to exert the significant influence. People will listen to them, not to you. And we can call them as a key KMPs, key managerial persons. And for a public accountant in practice, yes, it is applicable. Applicable to audit engagements of entities which are listed on the recognized stock exchange and have net worth of 250 crore rupees or more. In that case, even for a public, your auditor also it becomes applicable. Professional, or you could have been an internal auditor, you could have been a performance auditor, you can be any auditor. But if you are an auditor of a listed entity who is having a net worth of 250 crores or more, you come across no class, yes, you have got a disclosure requirements. So audit engagement shall mean the reasonable engagement where you are going to express your opinion on the financial statement. Okay, how it is different from 250? So they can ask you one question on this. SA 250 is applicable only for audit and not on assurance engagements. Yes, we know that because for assurance we have got SAE, SRE, but no class is applicable for all the accountant in service and practice. That means any engagement you do, anyway you are related to the client. If you come across no class, you have to report. SA 250 only for audit engagement. Now, SA 250 talks about our responsibilities of direct and other loss. No class will go further and it will look into the non-compliance that cause substantial harm, resulting into serious consequences, financial or non-financial terms. Okay, it doesn't restrict yourself to direct or other loss here, because they talk it only from the point of view of the financial statement. What is its impact on the financial statement? No, Here you see whatever, maybe it is some non-compliance is going to cause lot of reputation damage. They don't have any financial implication, but only reputation is lost. Now 250 doesn't talk about it because they talk okay only from the financial statement point of view, but NOCLAR is going to talk from the reputation point of view. That's called, they say, non-financial. SA 250 does not define the stakeholders. Your stakeholder is your member only, but NOCLAR says your investors, creditors, employees, or the general public are the stakeholders. And NOCLAR, in exceptional circumstances, you might become an aware of the imminent breach that is going to cause substantial harm. That means you know, but tomorrow morning, that toxic water will be left to the nearby sea. Somehow, because that day you are staying late, and two people were talking out, standing outside the your what is that called cabin. They were not aware that you were there, and they are talking that tomorrow morning 8 o'clock we will discharge this. Nobody will come to know. See, this is called an imminent breach. That means breach is not yet happened. Yes, immediately you are attracted by NOCLAR because you are suspecting. But SA 250 will start only if breach happens. That means imminent breach it is not going to talk about. So in such case, now immediately you have to discuss with the management, TCWG, okay, and you should check whether you should disclose to the appropriate authority so that we can prevent it. Okay, people or life can be below the water can be saved. So I hope students you are clear with the difference between SA 250 and NOCLAR. See, NOCLAR is something which is applicable for every practicing CS, primarily CS and the senior level employees, that too in listed entities. Now, it is different from 250 because 250 applicable only for audit, but here applicable for all sort of engagement. And before something happens also you may have to go and report. So in case of employment, it is applicable for service, accountant in service, and other than the responsibility of the professional accountant, other than senior employees. Other than senior employee, not applicable. In case of audit engagement for all the professional accountants, so what you should do, what should be your steps? One, obtain the understanding of the matter, address the matter, seek appropriate advice from the management, legal counsel, whatever, decide your further action. They didn't tell you what to do, that you have to decide. You have to talk to your lawyers, determine whether you have to disclose to the appropriate authority. Okay, are you barred from telling that? Imminent breach to stop, and finally you document. So these are all the points you may have to write. What to do? Okay, if you come to know what to do. So first thing, obtain the understanding. Second, address the matter. Third, seek the advice. Fourth, see whether further action is required. Then look for imminent breach, which is yet to happen. And sixth, you document. Okay, students. So it may also be noted that situation where disclosure ought to be made to the appropriate authority, that depending upon the nature. For example, it could be SEBI for fraudulent reporting. Appropriate alignment has been made in the code, requirements of the confidentiality as required in the chartered account. That means, okay, you will be exempted from the confidentiality issues. Now, provisions of the confidentiality, I told you, clause 1, part 1 of the second schedule. They said that you will be deemed to be guilty if you are going to disclose any information without the consent of the client. And similar confidentiality lies for clause 2, part 2 of the second schedule also. You will be deemed to be if you disclose the information without the consent of the client. Okay, so they have made an alignment. They said that, okay, when you are disclosed under NOCLAR, then that is not an issue. You can disclose it. Now, what are the documentation requirement? So first you need to document how management and TCWG have responded to the matter. First, you have understood what evidence you have got, that you have to document. When you reported to the TCWG, how they did it, what course of action they have taken, having regard to the third party test, and how the accountant is satisfied that the public interest has been fulfilled. So this will be in addition to the SS requirement. Prepare documentation about the significant matter, document discussions of the significant matter, and identify suspected non-compliances. Yes, so this is all about your NOCLAR. With this, we are done with the volume number 1. Let us see some Q&As which has appeared with regard to the NOCLAR. Now, Sam Yans, a listed company, is a registered office of Meerut, engaged in the manufacturing of various types of yarns. Company has installed the pollution control equipment for processing the pollutants before discharging. Very good. The company managed to get the pollution clearance by unfair means. Okay, that means there were some problems. But so you have followed some unfair means, and there is a breach of pollution control law in discharge of the influence. Amount of 10.25 lakhs has been incurred for arranging clearance certificate, and amount incurred unlawfully has been booked as a pollution recycling expenditure. The matter has not reached to those in the governance. That means people are not aware at the top. Director of Finance, who is a chartered accountant, came to know about these matters because somebody from the maintenance department must have done all these things. God knows why. So now he is a chartered accountant who is a finance director. So he is a senior level employee. Now comment on the actions or the responses of this director of finance referring applicable requirements of no CLAR under Code of Ethics. Did you see, students? A very clear-cut indication they had given that you have to talk about no CLAR. Now tell me, in entire 19 chapters, where you have come across the word no CLAR? In professional ethics only. And see, they have also told Code of Ethics. Okay, in the Code of Ethics, they are talking what is the responsibility. Okay, when you spoke about the responsibility, first of all, we discussed what is no CLAR. Second, whom it is applicable, how it is different from SA 250, what you should do. You remember in the form of a flow chart they had given. See, this is the answer. They are asking what is that you should be doing. This is what you should be doing. And documentation you should include what? These are all the aspects we should include in the documentation. So the question here is, what is your response? Okay, so you have to tell that this is applicable for accountant in service because he is the senior director. Now, senior professionals, accountant service in listed entity. 1 mark will be this. So you might become aware about the imminent breach. So you have to exercise your professional judgment and disclose it immediately to appropriate authority. So what you can do, you can obtain understanding, address the matter, seek the advice, imminent breach and documentation. Like this, you should have answered this question. But very easy question if it all comes for the exam. This point you need not write. Okay, next in your examination question, let's see what they have asked. F&F associates, chartered accountants, are appointed as the statutory auditors of an unlisted company for the financial year 24-25. Net worth has remained 500 crore for the last 2 years. CAF is the engagement partner. He became aware of imminent breach of law. See, this is the key word. Whether they will tell you no CLAR, whether they will tell you Code of Ethics, not required. But you see, students, this particular word, never ever, no other chapter we have discussed. Imminent breach means the breach which is yet to happen, would cause substantial harm to the investors' creditors. He discussed the matter with Mr. X, who is the senior most director of the company, which is correct, who happened to be a chartered accountant. Oh, now who is this? One of the chartered accountant told another chartered accountant, no. He is of the view that it is the responsibility of Mr. X, being the senior accountant, to respond to such non-compliance. No, you also have got the responsibility. However, Mr. X is of the view there is no responsibility casted on him. Both are wrong. So, no CLAR is applicable to CA in practice and CA in service. So, this is what you need to tell. Comment the contention of X related to the relevant section of revised Code of Ethics. The Code of Ethics. What documentations are required to be prepared with non-compliance? So, chalo, documentation question also they have asked. Only they have not asked till now. I think about the difference between SA 250 and okay, I think that also they have asked. So we can skip this. Okay. So no CLAR is under the responding to the no CLAR. So it is applicable both for professional accountant in service and professional in practice. So it is applicable for both the people. Now documentation, how the management has responded, what course of action is taken, and how the accountant is satisfied with the responsibility in the public interest. That's it. Finish. Maybe 3 marks for this, 2 marks to tell this, like whom it is applicable. Okay, 1 minute. I missed it. I'm sorry. So in the given case, yes, it is applicable for a listed entity, no? Okay, so it's an unlisted company. Provisions of Section 260 is not applicable to Mr. X, who is the senior most director. Because the contention of X that there is no responsibility is correct. Okay, I'm sorry, friends, I just missed it. Yeah, I told you are unlisted, but again it skipped out of my mind. Yeah, because it is applicable. We have already seen whom it is applicable. It is applicable for the people who are of listed entities. They have told here. Senior people of the listed entities and accountants in service and accountants in practice. So they have, what they are given is an unlisted company. So it is not applicable to them. So they were correct and they have to give about the documentation. Yes, so we will move on to the next question. TP Limited is a listed company. Now we have to be careful. Under the brand name of R Associates, appointed statutory auditor of the company. After looking the audit, during the audit, observed that there are a number of notices from the GST department and income tax department. Child laborers were engaged. So somewhere your mind will take you to SA 250. In response to the observation, you followed the procedures of 250. Okay, so now you made your mind that this must be a 250 question. According to CAR, the provision of SA 250 and the no clap under the revised code of ethics are one and the same. See, chalo, no. Do you agree? No, they are not same. Give your comment so you can give the differences. So what is 250 says? What is your no clap says? What is the responsibility of the auditor? Eminent breach will be there, exceptional circumstances. They do not define the stakeholders, but they define. So 1 mark for telling that no, they are not same, and 4 marks for telling any 4 difference points of difference. Yes, friends, I think the no clear related questions, everything they have discussed, everything has come for the exam. I don't think so. They may be asking again. Okay, so you can give low priority for this no clear related questions. Yes, so we will move on. Yes, so now we will go to the second part. So that's it. We are done. No clear part is done. So we will move on to the volume number 2. And you see, almost majority of the questions they have already exhausted. Okay, so hardly some confidentiality one question, objectivity one question we have got. But other questions, no important questions on confidentiality, professional behavior, they have already asked in the previous examination questions. So conceptual framework, okay, some threats related things are there. They may ask you. So I hope you are okay. Overall, you are fine. Yes, any doubts you have, please you can ask me. Yes, now we will go to the volume number 2, which is ICA Code of Ethics. This is your second part. Now, how do you begin this discussion? Chapter 1 they have not discussed. So straight away they started with the chapter number 2, which is CA Act 1949. In this, they started to discuss about relevant sections only, which you as a CA should have understood. Other section like where is section 3, section 4, section 5, not required, not relevant. The first part, they start discussing about the sections. Now, when you can become the member of the institute? Now, on acceptance of the application by the council, that means we have to apply when after we clear the final exam, plus other formalities like advanced ITT, GMCS, articleship and all we have done. Applicant's name shall be entered in the register and a certificate of membership will be issued. See, my suggestion to you students, the moment you clear the exams, you please apply for membership. No, because there can be some ill advices given by someone. I only gave one ill advice to my brother. I told why membership is required, because he got employment based on he cleared CA in the year 2010 and he immediately got a job based on his marks card and he never applied for membership. I only told him not required, why it is required. Later, he in the 2017 he applied. That means for 6-7 years he was not the member of the institute only. Because you cannot be the member unless you have applied for it. Followed, no? Anyhow, later I told him now he is a member. So now from now, COP is another thing. That's another concept. So whether you want to apply for COP or don't want to apply, that is a different thing. But membership is a very mandatory thing you have to apply. Otherwise, you cannot call yourself as a member of institute. You cannot call yourself as a ACA. You can say only I am final pass out. Now, what should be entered in the particular of the register? Because we have got something called a register of members. Section 19 of the CA Act says that you should your full name, date of birth, place of birth, residential and professional address, date of entry in the name of the register, when it was entered, what is your qualifications, whether you are holding COP or not. So these matters has to be recorded in the membership. So everyone knows. Okay, so we need not think from the examination point of view. After you clear the exams, you will apply for a membership. They will make entry in the register, and then they will give you one certificate of membership. Yes, so we'll move on. Then what are the disabilities for the membership? Like, okay, despite I have cleared my CA exams, is it possible that I have not entered into the register? Council can reject. Council can say, no, we will not enter yourself in the register. Or even though I am registered, they can remove me. Yes. What are the disqualifications? One, if he has not attained the age of 21 years. Why? Because ICA considers this is the period of maturity. Because you need maturity. Because 20 years, 21 years, okay, ICA feels that, okay, they are not much mature. See, mature, somebody may be 60, but still they are not mature. Like Shankaracharya type of people at the age of 12 only, they show the high level of maturity. That is a different story. But if we go to the statistics, generally it says that, okay, after 21 years, you will become much more mature. That's why they have put this restriction. That you have to attain the age of 21 years. Now, if you prove to be an unsound mind and judged by the court, yes, you will be removed from the membership, or you cannot be entered in the register. Why? Because if you are of unsound mind, you cannot make decisions and someone can misuse your signatures. If he is an undischarged insolvent, okay, then you cannot. Why? Because an insolvent is one whose liability is greater than your asset. Now, why their name cannot be entered into the membership? Because they don't have anything to lose. So they will do left and right signatures. See, if you have got a personal liability, if you have got a fear that your personal house will be sold tomorrow, then you have got a problem. But if you don't have the assets only, then you will take the unlimited risk because you don't have anything to lose. That's why an undischarged insolvent is not permitted to sign because your liability will go on accumulated. If he being a discharged insolvent also, okay, chalo, what if he become a discharged insolvent? That means he will go through the process of the court and he will get the certificate from the court that I have been discharged from all my liability. Okay, that means or has not obtained from the court a certificate that is insolvency. Okay, that means if he has discharged insolvent, then you should obtain one certificate from the court that your insolvency was caused by misfortune without misconduct. That means it is not because of your misconduct. Okay, it's not because of your nature, because of some misfortune it happened. Okay, what is misfortune? Anything that could have been, your house could have destroyed. You agreed to purchase one property, you paid the money, but that person would have ran away. At the same time, you incurred heavy amount of loss, expenses for the health related issues. These are all misfortune. Suddenly, you may go into negative. Your all assets might have vanished and negative you must have been. That's fine. You became insolvent because of the misfortune. Get that certificate from the court. We will give you one more chance to start new. But if it is because of the misconduct you have become, then we will not permit you to enter because we don't want you to be part of our membership. If he has been convicted by a competent court of any offense involving moral turpitude, like morality related, like check forgery, morality related, fraud, cheating, and you have been imprisoned, punishable with imprisonment, or offense not of a technical nature. Like, what is this offense of a technical nature? If you have done any offense of a technical nature, do you have a pardon? Yes. Okay, what is that offense of a technical nature? Like, for example, you see that there is one power fluctuation happening and one wire has been cut, live wire. So immediately you go and you break the transformer. The electricity department will lose 10 lakh rupees because your transformer, a transformer is the asset of electricity department and you have broken it. Yes, your intentions are good. You wanted to save someone's life, but you have caused damage of the property. No, this is like a trespassing. Now, in electricity department is going to file a complaint against you now because they have incurred a loss because of your Superman actions. But this particular, and they may file a complaint against you, whatever. But this offense is of a technical nature. So whatever offenses by a competent court involving moral turpitude and punishable with imprisonment, unless in respect of such offense you have been granted pardon by the central government, by right in order by an order in writing and remove their disability. That means if you are punishable with such offences, you cannot be the member of our institute. When we will permit, go and apply to the central government. Let central government tell us. Then only we will remove this disability. Otherwise, once you are punished with such, you are convicted. Just like see students, once an MLA is convicted, immediately they will be discharged. They cannot hold the MLA seat. Once the MP is convicted of any offence, but when they are accused, that is different. It will go on. They will continue as an MLA also. They will continue as an accused also, and they they might have come out on the bail. But the moment the court gives the verdict that they are convicted, that day they are going to lose their position or seat. Similarly, it happens to the membership also. You are convicted with the moral turpitude, punishable with the imprisonment, you have lost your membership. Be aware. And if he has been removed from the membership of the institute, found on inquiry, if he has been removed from the membership of the institute on being found on inquiry to have been guilty of professional other misconduct, because for any reason you have conducted any professional misconduct or other misconduct, yes, you will be removed from the membership of the institute. Are you clear, students? Who are all people who will be removed, who cannot enter? Okay, so these are all the set of people whose name cannot be entered into the register of members. This is called disability. So it can be noted a person who has removed from the membership for a specified period, like for example, court gives an order that next 3 years your membership will be removed. You shall not be entitled to have his name entered in the register until the expiry of such period. That means if the court has given order for 3 years to be removed, you will be removed for 3 years. Only after that expiry you can re-enter your name. In addition, failure on part of the person to disclose the fact that he suffers from the disability itself will constitute professional misconduct. So be careful. Later we are going to learn. That means whenever you give any information to ICA, you have to give the true information. If you are giving any false information, that means you know that there is a problem with you, but you don't tell that. That itself will be considered as a professional misconduct and ICA can punish you for that. See, ultimately everything comes to our membership certificate, which we are proud to tell, affix that CA. So I hope you are clear, students. So what are the conditions for disability? How to become a member? Membership. Okay, you can have to apply for the council. They will record this and give you the membership certificate. But these people will not be able to enter their name in the register of members. See, till now they have not asked any questions on this. Okay, from an academic point of view, you can read it and understand. Real questions will come later. Okay, and whatever previous things also, we see that okay, majority questions have been already asked till now. In the nuclear, completely they have exhausted. Yes. Now, how many types of members are there? There are primarily 2 types of members. Immediately, you will become an associate. That's why you called ACA. And after 5 years, you are called FCA. Okay, but there is one catch. What is that? Will you automatically become FCA? Yes. If you are a practicing CA, you will become automatically FCA with the 5 years of practice. And afterwards, see, if initial members can tell ACA, associate member and fellow member. But what if you are a person like me who was working in a company? I am an FCA. How did I become an FCA? See, if you are in a continuous practice of 5 years, you will become automatic FCA. You need not require a permission of the council. But if you are a member who has been continuous 5 years into a service and you possess such qualifications prescribed by the council, then you can consider it as an FCA. That means you need a permission from ICA to become an FCA. I hope this part is clear. If you are a practicing CA, immediately after 5 years of your entering into ACA or after entering into practice, you become FCA. But if you are not into practice, you are into service, after 5 years, you have to specifically apply to ICA, telling, looks, ICA, I have got relevant experience, I have worked in these fields. And if ICA sees okay, they will permit you to tell yourself FCA. FCA carries more weightage, it's like a senior. ACA is more like a junior. So they will be started, they can use the word FCA to indicate there that you are a fellow member of the institute, senior member of the institute. Now, when the name can be removed, yes, the council can remove the name of the member, one, when that person is dead. Of course, this is a very logical thing. Or when a person requests that please remove my name, I don't know who is going to tell this. Okay, people who feel ashamed to be the member of institute, because they tell in social media that we are ashamed to be the member, they only should go and request. Then I will remove. And who has not paid the prescribed fees. I am the live example in front of you. So I was also removed from the membership, and you see the incident happened like this. From 2007 to 2016, 9 years, I regularly paid my membership fees every year. I was wondering like why this, what benefit I will get? What is this paying membership fees and all? So in 2016, 2017, I didn't pay. By September, 30th September is the last date. Okay. And 2017, August, I had resigned. Oh no, sorry, 2015 I paid. 2016 the payment I didn't do. Now, I didn't knew this, that exactly on 1st of October 2016, my membership was removed. So I was no more the member of the institute. There is one provision that if I pay the fees within the end of the year, like between 31st March 2026, then my name will be restored from 1st October. But that day had already crossed. So then I just, when I resigned in August 2022, 22nd August 2017, then when I had to apply for COP, because this was unplanned actually, I didn't have any plan. So then I came to know that my membership has been removed. Then I had to go for condonation of a delay and other stuff. So this is what experience I had. So from 1st of October 2016 till, I think, I don't remember my COP date. Okay, I can say 1st of September 2017, I was not the member of the institute. This period. Why? Because I didn't pay the fees. Or who is found to have been subject at the time when the name was entered in the register, subject to the disabilities. That means somebody was already having through the disability, like less than 21 years of age, no mind, sound mind, or insolvent or criminal. These people, they got their name entered somehow by telling false statement. Yes, their name also will be removed. So 4 people's name will be removed, students. Disabled people, section 8, who have not paid the fees. Request has been removed to remove dead people. Now the council shall remove the name of the member from the register from whom an order has been passed under the act removing from the membership. Okay, so that's also order also going to come here. If the name of the member has been removed from the register for the non-payment of the prescribed fees, then on receipt of the application, his name will be entered again in the register on payment of the annual fees and entrance fees along with the additional fees. This is called condonation of delay. So whenever you delay, you have to pay with the condonation. Then again your name will be restored. Okay. Now what is that restoration of the membership? So I hope students you are clear. Please ask me if you are not clear. I can help you to understand things better. At least I can do some research. Yes. Now, what is this restoration of the delay membership? Now, can my membership be restored? The name of the member may be restored by the council on an application only if it has been removed from the register for non-payment of the prescribed fee. See, first of all, if somebody is dead, when your name, what is restoration? Restoration means again your name will be entered in the register. See, first of all, you are subject to disqualifications. Then there is no question of your restoration. Because by fraudulent means you got your name entered. You are not supposed to enter your name only in the first place. So there is no question here. Now if you are dead, will it be again restored? This is also impossible. Arey Baba, you only requested, so we'll remove it. Now in which case, I don't know whether they will restore it or not, but this is the only place where they will restore it. This is that what I told now. My name has been restored by paying the fees and all. Okay, but what is the logic of the payment of the fees and how it will be restored? by paying of the arrears and additional fees, etc., you will be restored. Okay, the effective date goes like this. If your application for restoration is received within the same year of removal, so my removal happened on 1st of October 2016. So by 31st March 2017, if I would have paid along with the application, then my restoration would have happened from the date it was removed. That means they would have again restored it from 30th September. That means again I would have continued to get that benefit of being calling myself as a member of the institute. If I would have paid that fees by 31st March. Delay fees I have to pay anyway, otherwise also. Okay. If the removal of the name is under the order of the Board of Discipline, then restoration will happen according to the order only. If I have been removed for 3 months, then restoration will happen after 3 months. If it is removed for 3 years, restoration will happen after 3 years. And in all other cases, restoration will happen from the date when the payment was received. In my case, I had paid it somewhere on the 1st of September, let us assume 2017. So my restoration happened on this day. That's why I told you I was not a member of the institute during this period. And my brother was not a member for years because he never applied. Anyhow, all these were streamlined. We got an awareness, what should be done, what should not be done. Anyhow, this is all the things. Now, what if you falsely claim to be a member of the institute? Now, Section 24 Act. Okay, so now we have seen, if we go back, see, have we learned about the membership? Yes. COP, yes, yet to learn. Then, what if removal of the disabilities of the membership? Section 8 we have seen. Removal from the register also we have seen. And then, what if you falsely claim to be a member? Okay, so this is not there here. So, if you are not a member of the institute, and you represent that you are a member of the institute, that you go and tell everyone that you are a CA, or you are going to use a designation with chartered accountant in your visiting card, or you are a member only, but not having certificate of practice, but you tell that you are in practice. Please understand there are two types of people here. One is never a member, but he says he is a member. Second, somebody is a member, he has not applied for COP, but he says he has got a COP. Those people will be punished with the first conviction, which can extend to 1,000 rupees, and subsequent conviction with the imprisonment, which may extend to 6 months, or fine, which may extend to 5,000 rupees, or both. See, this is 1,000. You may ask, sir, what is this 1,000? First of all, we are talking about this punishment of 1949. Tell me who will do it. First of all, see, if you get the work, first of all, you have got so many restrictions, and you need to get that work by establishing the trust. This is same like doctors. If somebody is not a doctor, they cannot claim that they are doctors because it becomes one punishable offense. If I am not a doctor, if I put a board that I am a doctor, I can get arrested. I will be imprisoned. So just like that, your practicing CA is also, if somebody claims that you are a practicing CA, but actually you are not a CA, or you are not applied for COP, such things can call for imprisonment also. The provision can be understood with the case where the court of additional justice magistrate by judgment found the accused guilty of section 24A, 1A and B. The court imposed a fine on the accused. In the event of his failure to pay the fine, sentenced rigorous imprisonment of 3 years. Okay, one Batra case somewhere in 1989 it happened. Okay, so they were asked to pay 1,000 rupees, but 1,000 was also a big amount in 1989. Today it may not have its value. But somebody was given imprisonment for this offense. Yes. So we will move on. But very nicely they have designed the material as compared to the old syllabus material. Now let us talk about the chartered accountant in practice. Okay, do we have any questions? The provisions of the CA Act? No, the questions will start now. Till now they have not asked, not now. In the old syllabus also they have never asked a question. But they spoke about the membership, certificate of practice, everything. Now let us talk about the practicing CA, because previously 90% of the CAs were going into practice. Today 90% will go into industry. Okay, so now let us understand what a practicing CA should do. What is certificate of practice? A practicing chartered accountant is a member of the institute because it is an offense if you are not a member and holding certificate of practice. You will be deemed to be in practice. Okay, so first thing, once you clear CA final, you will apply for membership. Plus, if you want to be into practice, then you have to apply for certificate of practice. See, have you gone to the doctor? They have put one board, no? Have you seen that one photo they have put their certificate license? You have gone to medical shop. Do you see one license there? They have put with the photo. Like this, you are going to get one certificate of practice with your photo imprinted on them. And this you should be displaying in your workplace. You must have seen this in your workplace of your boss, certificate of practice. Now, what is the significance of the certificate of practice? First thing, no member shall be entitled to practice unless they hold certificate of practice. Just because you become a member of the institute, you cannot practice in India unless you are holding certificate. Like, what do you mean by practice now? We will see that. What type of work I cannot do as a CA? We will see that. Okay. Every member shall pay such annual fees for his certificate as may be determined by the council. So, for example, if your membership fees is 1,500 and if you hold the certificate, that means you got two certificates now. One is certificate of membership and certificate of practice. So your total payment will amount to say 4,500, 3,000 for COP, 3,000, 1,500 for membership. And if you happen to be an FCA, then this will go to 6,500. So they have got different slabs. If you are a senior, like you have crossed 60 years, you got senior concessions. If you have just started practice, you have got still concessions. So you have got a different slabs. You have to pay the annual fees. The certificate of practice shall be cancelled by the council under such circumstances as may be prescribed. Okay, we'll see that also, when they can cancel the certificate of practice. One of the conditions is your membership is gone, certificate of practice is gone. Or you can surrender the certificate, like I have done, they will remove you. Member who is not in practice, that means you are a member, but you are not applied for COP, is precluded from accepting the engagement or render any services prescribed for a chartered accountant, even though it doesn't require special qualifications. See, this is the catch, you need to understand it. They say that, look, you will become a member of the institute when you apply for membership after clearing final exams. Okay, now what you will do? What is your way forward? You have got two way forward. One, you can practice, or you can be into service. Now, your service can be like you can be a faculty, you can be a corporate trainer, you can be a consultant, you can be a freelancer, you can be an employee of the company, or you can sit at home and do your business also. Like grocery shop is there that you can run, or you can go with your father into, or your family business you can run. You can do anything. All these things are one side. Member in practice is another side. So now what a practicing CA will do? So there are some accounting work, auditing work, and 28 management consultancy works. This is what a practicing CA is supposed to do. Accounting, auditing, and 28 type of management consultancy work. They have told, ICAI has told. Now one question comes. Look, like for example, tax representation. Now, to have a tax representation, what does the Income Tax Act says? Who can represent an SSE? First of all, an SSE himself, or any of his employee, or anybody can represent. It is not required that a lawyer also can represent. That means you don't need to have any qualifications to be a tax representative. Agree with me? Now, what you can do? You are very good in tax representations. So, you will not apply for certificate of practice. But you will take up this tax representation. Can you go? Answer is no. This is what ICAI is trying to tell. A member who is not in a practice, that means who has not got COP, is precluded from accepting the engagement which is meant for practicing CAs, even though such work do not require any special qualification. Like, can you be an independent HR consultant? No. Why? Because that is generally done by a practicing CA. So what all those 28 type of works plus account and audit related work independent CA is practicing CA is doing, you cannot do in your membership capacity. You need to have a COP. What is the logic here? See, these people who are practicing CA are bound by advertisement guidelines. Advertisement guidelines has been given for practicing CA. Do you have any advertisement guidelines? No. Like for example, I am a faculty. Is the advertisement guidelines applicable to me? No. So I will do advertisements. I will do in Instagram. I'll do in Facebook. I'll do so many places. Now, is it going to affect? No, because a practicing CA can get into teaching, but only 28 hours per week. But I am a full-time faculty. I don't have any certificate of practice. So I can pursue it. But if you permit a tax representation, then what this person will do? He will not apply for COP. So he will be excluded from advertisement guideline, and he is doing left and right advertisement for tax consultation work. Now you tell me, students, is it not injustice on other practicing CAs who have applied for COP and they are bound by the advertisement guidelines? They are not advertising because they are bound by the guidelines. But this person is not bound by the guidelines, and he is doing left and right advertisement and doing the same job of this person. It is like this, students. It feels like this. These people are the one who have invested the money and taken the shop, and they have got license, everything. Another person comes there without any license and start selling the same item what they are selling next to the road. They have not paid the tax. They have not paid. Don't you feel these people will get angry? Maybe these are all vegetable sellers. They have taken license. They have put money on the buildings. Okay, they are paying rent. And another person who have not paid any rent, no permission, nothing, simply selling. Now, how it is possible? If you want to do it, sell tea, but don't sell vegetables standing next to me. So this is the logic. Here they tell that you should not be doing into it, even though it doesn't require a qualification. So what ICA Council says, once a person becomes a member, because you cannot hold COP unless you become a member. Once you become a member, you are bound by the provisions of the CA Act and the regulations. That means you should listen to us. Regulations. If and when he appears before the income tax tribunal as income tax representative, after becoming a member, see, if he is not a member, we cannot go and stop them, because who are we to tell you listen to our regulations? Because ICA regulations are meant only for their members. So your parent can tell rules for you, not for your neighbor's kids. So once you become a member of the institute has told through their regulation that you can appear in front of the income tax department only as a chartered accountant and a member of the institute. Simply you cannot. If you are not a member, then you appear in any of the capacity. But if you are a member of the institute, you can appear only in the capacity as a chartered accountant. So you could not set them at naught, this provision, by contending that I did not appear in the form of a chartered accountant, my COP got suspended, so I have appeared as a lawyer. No, such type of excuses you cannot give. A member of the institute can have no other capacity in which he can take such practice separable from the capacity to practice as a member of the institute. So, if in a nutshell, if the member's name has been removed from the membership during such period, he will not be appear before various tax authorities or other bodies whom you could have appeared in his capacity as a member of the institute. Students, I hope you are very clear. Now, for me, it took time to understand what they were trying to tell. I hope you are clear. You tell me if you are not clear. Okay, let us see some illustrations and examples. Now, chartered accountant in practice has been suspended from practice for 6 months for some reason. Now, he had to surrender his certificate of practice because he was suspended from practice, not from membership. Please understand. So, he was holding membership, but he had surrendered certificate of practice because he was suspended. So, he will be restored only after that 6 months. Now, what happened during the period of suspension? He did not take any audit assignments. Of course, he cannot sign, but he took the income tax representation assignments. And he appeared telling that I am a member of the institute. He said, look, for appearing as a representative, you no need to have a certificate of practice. Okay. What if alternatively he said, I am not a chartered accountant, I am a lawyer. Can you appear like a lawyer? No, that also no. They said that if you are a member and you want to appear before income tax authorities, because income tax authorities who can appear, a CA in practice can generally appear, generally. So if you want to appear in front of the income tax authority, just like you surrendered your certificate of practice, surrender your membership also. And then you go and tell them. In that, when if you have surrendered your membership, you cannot tell them you are chartered accountant. No, because the designation chartered accountant can be used by two people. CA in practice also you can use, CA in service also can be used. So don't use this designation and do the work of practicing CAs. Okay, so undertaking the work, member is suspended from holding the COP. It appears that before income tax he is doing only his capacity as a chartered accountant. So having bound by the act and the regulations, he cannot set the regulation by contending that he would be entitled to practice in any other capacity. He doesn't have any capacity. So in the given case, chartered accountant would not be allowed to represent the income tax authorities. The point is very simple, students. See, there are two types of work. One, you can practice or you can do any other things. If when we talk about practice, they have already told what all the activities they need to do in practice. Now, any of these tasks, if you want to do it, then you have to apply for COP. You cannot do any of these tasks in your other capacity. No, you may be a lawyer, you may be a cost accountant, you may be a company secretary. Can you practice in multiple capacities? Yes. But if you have not taken COP of ICAI, you have taken company secretary COP. You can have two COPs. Sister company COPs are permitted. Now you cannot go there telling I am company secretary here. I am as a company secretary in practice. First question comes, as a member, do you have our ICAI COP? No, right? So then don't come here. So these are all the rules made by the ICAI related to the certificate of practice. Okay, so there was a question, illustration one. This already we have discussed. So I will discuss it then and there itself, and we will proceed further. Now, let us see test your knowledge one question. Natraj, in practice, accepted the assignment as an advisor, consultant to the public issue of shares by the client Super Limited. Okay, he is in practice. Okay, sorry, wait. This is the different question. Huh? We'll proceed further. There is only one question on the COP. Now, can your certificate of practice be cancelled and restored? Yes. Okay, if your name removed from the register of members, automatically your certificate of practice also will go. Because certificate of practice is dependent on your membership. Membership is gone, COP also will go. And we have already seen under what circumstances your name from membership can be removed. 4 circumstances. Section 8, disability, death, request by the member only, or your non-payment of the fees. Or if the council is satisfied that after giving opportunity of being heard, the certificate was issued based on incorrect information. Okay, false misleading information you have given, they can remove your certificate. Member has ceased to practice, like my example. I didn't practice, I only surrendered. I told I don't want to practice anymore. Or member has not paid the annual fees by 30th day of the September. That means on 1st of October, your COP is cancelled. Don't sign. Very strict. I say is very particular about this. Your fees has to be paid by 30th September. Okay. So these are all the 4 instances where your COP will be cancelled. Now, is it possible that we can restore the COP? Yes. See, first of all, if your name is restored from the register, no, gone. We cannot restore. If it is incorrect information, there is no question of restoring. Cease to practice, then you apply again, reapply for practice. Where is the question of restoring? So restoration is going to happen only under one case, friends. And COP shall be surrendered to the secretary. Now, on restoration of, okay, further level on restoration of COP states that you can restore from the date it is cancelled only if you pay that fees, only under this circumstance. That means because of the non-payment of the fees, your COP got cancelled. No? Yes, if you pay it by 31st of March, it will be restored from the date cancelled due to non-payment of the fees, whose application is complete in all the respects together with the condonation delay. Then it will be restored with effect from the date in which it is cancelled. But after that 31st March, if you pay, then that is gone. It will be restored from that date only. Okay, now one question came some time back. We discussed there were two type of people. One is practicing CA, other CA. Now, what do you mean by this practicing CA? What all the work they are going to do? Yes, now IC is going to talk. They are called deemed to be in practice. They are already told if a person is holding COP, a member of the institute, practicing CA is the one who is a member of the institute plus holding certificate of practice and include such members who deemed to be in practice. Okay, so first of all, somebody is holding COP. Now, who is this deemed to be in practice? Now, deemed to be in practice are those people, first of all, whatever work these people are doing, they are also doing. In that case, no, you are bound by the advertisement guidelines. So it goes like this. I can say something like this. Now, you will do some work here, which is meant for this practicing CA. Then you will also be deemed to be a CA in practice. And you will be bound by all the guidelines and by the guidelines. Okay, let us see now who is deemed to be in practice. Every member of the institute, a member, will be entitled to designate himself as a chartered accountant, whether you are in practice or whether you are in service. There are two classes of members who are in practice and who are otherwise occupied. As I told you, two classes. Now, section 2, subsection 2 of the Act talks about the deemed to be in practice. A member shall be deemed to be in practice when individually or in partnership with the chartered accountants in practice or in partnership with the members of such recognized professionals, he, in consideration of remuneration received, okay, what type of work he will do? He will engage himself in the practice of accounting, like he will maintain the books of accounts, okay, he will give the guidelines on the accounting, or offers to perform services involving auditing, verification, transaction, books of accounts, record preparation, certification of the financial accounting, etc., or renders the professional services or assistance about matters of principle related to accounting. So they will tell you like how the interpretation has to be done, okay, what type of accounting policies to be followed, which is the best policy to be adopted. They're more into the consultation, certification of the financial facts and data, like certificates you issue, or render such other services which in the opinion of the council can be rendered by a CA in practice. Now, if you are the one who is doing any of these activities, then you will be deemed to be in practice. Now, you render such practicing CA. Now, which all the work which can be rendered by a CA? So, a CA in practice can render all these three. What other services which the council is thinking that they can render? That is what we are going to see. And the word to be in practice with the grammatical variation and cognate expression shall be construed accordingly. Now, what is grammatical variation? Like CA practicing accountancy and CA in practice both mean the same grammatically. This is called a grammatical variation. What is cognate expression? Similar words or phrases related to practice should be understood in the same context, like practicing as a CA or engaged in the profession of accountancy. So you need not tell practice, you are engaged. Both are same. So someone who is offering, rendering, engaging, practicing, they say that this all means to be in practice. So what a practicing CA will do? Practicing CA will do the practice of accountancy, auditing, consultation on the accounting matters, or such type of 28 services which the opinion of the council says they can render. Now, who is deemed to be in practice? If anyone who has not got the certificate of practice but doing this type of thing, they will be considered deemed to be in practice. Now, they will be bound by the advertisement guidelines. They have to follow the advertisement guidelines and they have to apply for COP, otherwise it will amount to professional misconduct. Now, explanation. An associate or a fellow of the institute who is a salaried employee of a chartered accountant in practice. Okay, so now one question comes. What if I will become a full-time employee of a chartered accountant in practice? Now, notwithstanding such employment, generally you are not considered as a practicing CA, but here you will be deemed to be in practice for a limited purpose of training article assistants only. That means you cannot sign the financial statement, but you have got a COP and you have been a member of another we are working as a full-time employee of another chartered accountant. In such cases, your COP can be used to get one article assistant for training, but you cannot be putting any signatures. You are not deemed to be in practices only for limited purposes, but you cannot do any attestation function. The council has passed a resolution permitting CAs to render certain management consultancy and other services. The expression management consultancy shall not include statutory and periodic tax audits, because that will be covered under your audit related work here, periodic audits, tax audits. Both direct tax and indirect tax representation, advice concerning tax matters, acting as a liquidator, trustee, executor, arbitrator, receiver, etc. Okay, these are all your court related work. Court only gave you the order. Now, it shall include, okay, what are those management consultancy work? See, there are 28 types of management consultancy work. One, you can help any client in financial management planning and financial policy determination, like their investments, okay, other things. You can help in capital structure planning, advice regarding raising of the finance, like you can talk debt, equity, sources of finance, and you can help them to raise the finance. You can prepare the project sheets, help them to apply for the bank loan. Working capital management, you can help them understanding their working capital requirement, okay, developing the models, whatever. Preparing project reports and feasibility studies. So how much the returns are going to come, what is net present value calculation. So you all these project reports can be done. Consideration of tax implication while rendering 1, 2, 3, 4 above will be considered as a management consultancy and service. That means somebody can give the service of tax implications of above activity. That is also management consultancy. Preparing of the cash budgets, cash flow statement, profitability statements, like SRS. This is also you can practice. You can prepare the cash flow statement, balance sheet, P&L, fund flow statement. You can help them to prepare the budgets, capital budgets and revenue budgets. You can help them to do inventory management, material handling, storage. Means you can help them to set up that system. You can do the market research, strategic management, and demand study. This is all coming from strategic management. That's why in the interview you have this subject. You can help to fix the price in decision making. You can calculate the cost of production and help to fix the price. Management accounting system, cost control, value chain analysis, all this type of like costing work you can do. Management consultancy work you can do. Management accounting work. You can do control methods and management information, MIS. You can design different type of MIS, automatic MIS, automations on the MIS you can do. You can help to appoint the personal recruitment, HR related, like you can advertise on behalf of your client, do their interviews, you can find the right candidates. Setting up executive incentive plans like ESOPs, okay, how much annual increments to happen, wage incentive plans, etc. you can develop. Management and operational audits. Okay, management audit means you do the decision making system, like how the managements will take the decision, what information they have. This is called a management audit. Operational audit means you have seen triple E, efficiency, economy, effectiveness, performance audit. They are all operational audits. You can do that. You can take such assignment also. Valuation of shares, you can do business and advice regarding amalgamation, mergers, acquisition. You can act as a registered valuer, read with company's valuation, registered valuer of financial assets only, please understand, and not for PP. So suddenly they will in examination, they will ask you, okay, so you accepted the assignment of registered valuer as a PP. No, PP is not permitted. You can act as a registered valuer only for financial assets, because that makes sense, because we are finance people. PP and all, it is architect, like what is that called? Some surveyor or the engineer has to do it, because I am not qualified to do the PP related valuations. So when you study this registered valuer, yes, you are only financial assets like equity shares. That's why in CA final AFM, you study derivative valuation, fair valuation of the shares, okay, business valuations, because you can do only financial asset valuations. Now, business policies, corporate planning, organization development, growth, diversifications, okay, like strategic management related advices you can give. You can help to develop the organization structures, developing the human resources, design and training programs, job descriptions, like all HR related things. You can define the structure, who should report to whom, should you have hourglass structure, should you have multiple reporting, what should be the job description, you can work on these fields. System analysis and design, computer related hardware, software, okay, automations, there also you can do this, services related to the EDP, any type of work like automations you can do. Acting as an advisor or consultant to an issue of shares, you can do this service. Drafting of the prospectus, memorandum containing features of the prospectus. So for raising of the equity shares, you can draft the prospectus. Preparation of the publicity budgets and advise on the selection of ad media. Who should be the ad media? So these are all related to the advisor as an issue. Like you want to raise the funds from the stock market. So you can draft the prospectus. You can prepare one publicity budget because people should be aware now when IPO has come. And you can tell them who should be that ad media, who should be the banker, who should be the broker, collection centers, brokers to issue, underwriters, quantum of the issue of the material. Okay, so distribution of the publicity material, including application forms. So these are, you can be involved in all these activities. Advice regarding selection of various agencies connected with the issue, like who should be the registrar, who should be the printer, who should be the advertising agency. Advice on the post-issue activities like listing agreements, dispatch of the certificates, refunds. You can give service here also. These are all part of your advisor or consultant to the issue. Okay, here explanation they have given. For the removal of doubt, they clarified that activities of broking, underwriting and portfolio are not permitted. So you as an advisor to the issue, you can help to draft the prospectus, prepare the budget, help to appoint the agencies and help on post issue activities. But you cannot yourself become a broker, because left and right you may start selling and you may bring disrepute to the organization, because broker is the one who is acting as an intermediary between buyers and sellers. So you may bring undue pressure on the CUC. No, brokers, they will promote now, because you will act like a, what is that called, advocate of this company. So you will advise everyone, please buy this share, this is very good, very good. No, institute doesn't want you to take such type of broking business. You don't become a broker. You don't force someone to buy the shares. Don't get into underwriting. Underwriting means you guarantee the company that if somebody doesn't buy, I will buy. Because this is going to bring immense pressure on you to sell it to people. Again, you will bring disrepute to our ICI. And portfolio management means you buy and sell the shares on behalf of the clients. So you don't do that. Okay, let the banks do it, portfolio management service. Let them handle, but you should not be involved in portfolio management services of the client. So these three things are not applicable for a practicing CA. Then investment counseling you can do for the securities. In doing so, the relevant provisions of the code of ethics has to be kept in mind. It refers to the advising clients on investment strategies, like should you invest in the mutual fund, how much money you should shift to the gold, what is the risk assessment, what is the financial planning, when do you need money for your kids' education, marriage, whatever, without directly managing their investment. See, direct management of the investment you should not get involved, but you can give advice. Counseling you can do. See, here also, you don't get to put your hands or money into it. You can be an advisor or a consultant for drafting, publicity budgets, help to select the agencies, but you should not be that taking active part, because your time will be spent in this work only, and on our what is called work related to your practice you will ignore. You will not have any time, and you will bring undue influence on people. Now you can act as a registrar to an issue or transfer of the shares, etc. Quality audit you can do. Environmental audit, like environmental implication, energy audits. So these are all the different types of audit you can do. Recovery consultant, but not recovery agent to a banking sector. So you can advise the banks like how the recovery can be made, what legal actions can be taken. But you should not call and threaten that people, the customers, okay, will you give the money or not? No, you cannot be the recovery agent. Insurance and financial advisory services you can give. Acting as an insolvency professional is also permitted under IBC. And administrative services also you can give. It involves assisting in the routine mechanical tasks, normal course of operation, like your FA register to prepare, word processing services like printing of the letters, preparing of the statutory forms, filling of the forms, submitting the form, monitoring the returns, their filing dates, etc. For example, when we got to functions of a GST practitioner, what all the administrative work, like furnishing the details of inward and outward supplies, monthly quarterly returns, depositing of the money in the cash register, filing of the refund claim, filing of the e-way bill, furnishing the details of GST challenge, file an application for amendment. See, these are all the work. These are all admin related works. So you can do to assist. So this is the last thing. Work number 28. Administrative services. Any type of services you can do. You can prepare one fixed asset register. Okay. You can count or you can do external confirmation with the debtors. So these are all the different type of services you can render. Now they said that pursuant to section 2 subsection 4, members shall be deemed to be in practice if in his professional capacity, okay, he is deemed to be in practice. Like for example, he didn't took COP, no COP. But what he did in his professional capacity and not in his personal capacity or as an employee, he became liquidator, trustee, executor, administrator, arbitrator, receiver or advisor. Who appointed him? Court appointed him. So if you are acting like this person now, if a court appoints you like a liquidator, trustee, etc., yes, you will be deemed to be in practice. Or you become a representative for costing, financial or taxation matter, or takes up appointment made by the central government or state governments, because you must have written some examination. You will take their work and you become a representative for costing or taxation matter, then also you will be deemed to be in practice of a court or law. Act as a secretary unless your employment is full salary come full-time basis. So if your employment is salary from full-time basis by court, by government or secretary, whoever, then you are not deemed to be in practice because you are an employee. As an employee, you can take up any work. Only thing you cannot sign. But if you are not a full-time employee, then if you are taken any of these tasks based on the court order or on a temporary basis by the government, you will be deemed to be in practice. So it is necessary to note that not only when he is actually rendering deemed to be in practice, not only when he is actually engaged in the practice of accountancy, but also when he offers to render service. That means he need not go and give. If he sits and opens one shop, then only he is considered to be in practice. It's not required that you should have given some service. So act of setting up an establishment itself is like act of giving the service. It will tantamount to being in practice. Deemed to be in practice, service with the armed forces also deemed to be in practice. Okay, so what is this? See, your Indian Air Force will take the chartered accountant. If you are interested, you can apply for that. But here, you will not be working to go for flight and all. So you will not be given revolver to go and kill enemies. Okay, so that type of work you are not there. But you have to get into administrative work. They are maintaining their accounts of the Air Force. So maintaining the registers, checking the items like foodstuffs, fuel, everything. So if you are into service with the armed forces, yes, you will be deemed to be in practice. That means you can have a COP and you will be considered as a practicing member. Now, let us see some of the questions which has come for the examination. Now, CA Ram is a practicing CA having expertise in GST, but does not provide any assurance service. That means he will not sign, but he is a good GST professional. He can talk to the GST tribunal and all. Ram is approached by DF to file an appeal against the GST demand of 6 crore to represent DF Limited. Ram offers to accept a fees of 3,50,000. Comment whether can he do that? Yes, he is not guilty because he is deemed to be in practice because representative for taxation matter and he is a practicing CA. Please understand. He is a practicing CA and as a practicing CA, he can take representation for taxation related matters with CO. So he is not guilty of professional misconduct. Okay, sure. So I think from section 144, we will look tomorrow. Okay, we'll continue other things. Okay, so there are more examination questions. So one RAM related questions we have addressed. Okay, other questions we will see tomorrow. Yes, thank you.